You ever notice how quiet it gets right before something shifts, like the air knows before you do? Like the silence ain't peace, it's pressure, and people, they get so used to struggling, so used to crawling, they forget what it feels like to stand. They wait for a sign, a clap, a gold star, when all along the signal was silence. That eerie stillness that whispers it's time. Not time to pray harder. Not time to wait longer. Time to take what's already been written with your name on it. But, here's where it gets funny. Most people fail the test not because they weren't strong, but because they didn't realize it was already over. You know what's funny? Everyone's waiting for a drum roll, some grand finale, some voice from the clouds saying you passed. But life doesn't do that. No confetti, no applause, just silence, cold, thick, creepy silence. That's the twist. The silence is the signal. The stillness, that's not nothing happening, that's everything shifting. It's like the lights go down in a theater, not because the show's over, but because something big is about to start. And most people, they sit there, frozen, twiddling their thumbs, whispering, is it time? While the clock already hit 0. See, the silence doesn't come to comfort you. It comes to confront you. It's not peace, it's pressure. The kind that wraps around your ribs, squeezes your lungs, makes your skin itch like something's coming. And it is. You feel it, don't you? That crawling on the back of your neck, like eyes are on you, but there's no one there. That's not paranoia, that's the call. The announcement. But it doesn't sound like a trumpet or a shout. It sounds like still air and a racing heart. Because the universe doesn't waste breath on people who aren't listening. You've already done the crawling, already done the bleeding, already carried the weight that should have broken you. And now, it's quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't ask you to kneel but dares you to stand. But here's the joke: people fear that quiet more than the chaos. They don't know what to do with peace. With power, they were built for the battle, not for the blessing. So when the silence says move, they stay still. When it whispers it's done, they keep swinging at ghosts. Because no one told them the test doesn't end with a warning. It just ends, and you're still acting like it's mid-exam. Still looking for answers that were already written in scars across your skin. Still praying for signs while the door's wide open. You've been conditioned to chase struggle like it's oxygen. Conditioned to think if it's not hard, it's not real. But what if the hard part was the real part? Now comes the collection. Not the wait, not the debate. The collection. That silence you feel, that's not a mistake. It's the shift in the atmosphere when the referee calls time, but you're too focused on dodging punches that already stopped swinging. That's the wind holding its breath while you decide if you'll take what's yours or keep waiting for another round that's never coming. It's funny, people are so used to losing they don't know what to do when the wind shows up. They call it a trick, a trap, too easy. Must be something wrong. But nothing's wrong. The test is over. It was never about passing or failing, it was about surviving. And you did. You're still here, aren't you? Still walking. Breathing. That's the only score that mattered. Everything else background noise. But here's the thing about silence, and it's alas. It's just the moment before the curtain lifts, before the next act begins. And in that space, in that tight little gap, you've got one job: recognize it, feel it, take it. Because if you miss that moment, it doesn't wait for you. It moves on. Leaves you in the dark with your doubts and your questions, wondering what happened while opportunity slipped out the side door. People think the hard part is getting through the pain. But the real hard part, knowing when it's finally your turn. Because pain makes sense. Struggle gives you purpose. But silence makes you responsible. Now it's on you. No one left to blame. No one to fight. Just you, your shadow. And what you decide to do when the noise dies down and the path clears. Most won't move. Most won't trust it. They'll call the silence a trick and stay in their cage because at least it's familiar. At least it's safe. But you If you're listening, really listening, you'll feel it. That shift, that moment when the air changes, and something tells you this is it. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel braver or more qualified, or less broken. Now, because that silence isn't here to soothe you, it's here to provoke you, to make you uncomfortable enough to act, to remind you that the test was never about perfection. It was about pressure. And if you're still breathing under that pressure, then maybe, just maybe, that silence is your green light. Permission. That's what they wait for. Isn't that rich? A whole world full of people sitting on fire, hands in chains that aren't even locked, eyes wide open but seeing nothing, all because they're waiting for some invisible judge to stamp their paper and say, "You may proceed." Who taught them that? Who told them they needed permission to take what's already got their name carved into it? It's not theirs because someone allowed it. It's theirs because they survived what should have killed them. And yet they sit there second-guessing, self-editing, scared to take one step forward because no one said go. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. There is no committee watching. No council in the sky counting your good deeds. No magical referee with a whistle saying when it's your time. It's chaos out here, and the ones who win are the ones who grab. Not ask or grab, not everyone gets that. Some still think being humble means shrinking. That waiting your turn is noble. But the world doesn't hand out turns, it hands out pain, pressure. And maybe if you get smart enough, mad enough, brave enough, you snatch something back from it. They've been tricked, conditioned, told to be quiet, polite, obedient. Don't want too much. Don't move too fast. Don't shine too bright. Because if you do, they might notice. Who's they? Doesn't matter. The point is, people are scared of being seen taking something. Scared of what it looks like. Scared of being called selfish, greedy, arrogant. But let me tell you the real thieves, the ones robbing the world blind. They never ask, they take. And they laugh while you wait for some divine okay. It's comical, really. Watching people starve next to a feast because no one formally invited them to the table. So they sit in the corner, whispering prayers, hoping someone will notice they're hungry. All while the doors are open, the food's there, the seat's empty. But their mind says, not yet. You haven't earned it. You need more proof. Someone has to tell you it's time. And that voice, that's the true villain. Not failure. Not rejection. That voice that says, wait, when everything in your bones is screaming, move. The world owes you nothing. That's true. But you don't owe the world your silence either. You've already paid in tears and trauma, in nights you didn't sleep, in days you didn't eat, and choices you had to make that ripped something out of you. You paid in moments no one saw, in work no one applauded, in pain no one comforted. And now, when the dust finally settles, when the thing you were chasing is finally within reach, you're going to pause and ask if it's okay to grab it. That's the punchline, that's the tragedy. People love to preach patience like it's some sacred virtue. But patience can rot. Patience can turn into fear wearing a halo. There's a line, and once you cross it, waiting isn't holy anymore, it's cowardice. It's hiding behind politeness because you're afraid of what happens if you actually get what you want. Because if you take it, now you're responsible for it. Now you can't blame the system or the timing or the rules. Now it's all on you. And that terrifies people more than failure ever could. See, the funny thing about freedom, it doesn't come with instructions. It doesn't come with a map. It just shows up raw and loud and messy and asks one question, will you take it? Not are you ready? Not do you deserve it? Just will you? And most don't. They freeze because the cage may suck, but it's predictable. The open door, that's chaos, that's risk, that's accountability. And oh, people hate accountability. They'd rather pray for another sign than walk through a door that's been wide open all along. No one's coming to save you. That's not dark, that's liberating. Because if no one's coming, that means you're already enough. Already equipped. Already worthy. And the only thing left is the choice. Not the process, not the plan. The choice to stop waiting, to stop needing the green light from people who don't even know the road you're on, to take what's already yours because you've bled for it, you've cried for it, and no one else can claim it without stealing something sacred. They'll call it selfish, they'll call it arrogant. Let them. People always name things they're too scared to do, but deep down they know they missed their moment. They saw it pass and said nothing, did nothing, and now watching you step into yours without flinching, that's a mirror they can't stand. But that's not your concern. You weren't built to ask, you were built to take. Pain's a funny little trickster. Shows up uninvited, overstays its welcome, and still somehow convinces you it's doing you a favor. And oh, how people fall for it. They treat it like a curse when really it's a craftsman, a tailor, a blacksmith hammering at your bones until you're something else entirely. You scream, "Why me?" while it sharpens you. You beg it to stop, not realizing it's making sure that when the time comes, you don't break again. That's the twist, isn't it? The struggle wasn't punishment. It was preparation. But most can't see that while they're in the fire, all they know is the burn, the sting, the crawl through glass with no finish line in sight. They look around and see no audience, no applause, just darkness. And in that moment, it feels like cruelty. But what they don't see is that pain. Pain's not there to destroy, it's there to strip. To tear away the illusions, the excuses, the masks. To leave you raw and real. Because only real can handle what's coming. Dreams don't live in the soft places. They live on the other side of the fire. Now here's where the joke gets good. After all that agony, after the collapse, after the breakdowns behind me, closed doors, the miles that hit silent screams, what does life do? It hands you the prize. Not because you asked nicely, not because you filled out the form, but because you survived. It gives you the thing, and most people don't even recognize it. They're too used to struggling. The fight became their identity, so when peace shows up, they flinch. They sabotage. They go looking for another mountain to climb because they don't know how to rest. See, the world teaches you to glorify the grind, celebrate the suffering, and sure, the grind builds muscle, scars, stories, but it's not the destination. It's the gym, the prep room, the mud you crawl through so you can one day stand in the light without blinking. But no one tells you that. They just keep handing out more weight, more trauma, more loss, until one day life goes quiet. And instead of cheering, you panic, you think something's wrong. You think, where's the next blow? When really it's time to collect what all that pain built you for. You ever see someone win and look uncomfortable? Like they're waiting for the universe to snatch it back. That's what happens when no one tells you the struggle was a setup. That every tear was a down payment. That every betrayal was sandpaper smoothing the edges of your strength. They didn't come to end you. They came to shape you. To stretch your skin wide enough to hold the glory that was always yours. But you needed scars to carry it. You needed losses to value it. You needed loneliness to lead it. But people don't hear that part. They think the blessing comes when the storm stops. Nah, the blessing is the storm. It's what teaches you to move when your legs are numb, to speak when your throat's raw, to love when your heart's cracked wide open. That kind of strength, it can't be faked. It can't be bought. It's earned in the trenches, in the silence, in the nights where nobody checked on you but you still woke up swinging. That's the kind of soul God can trust with something sacred. So while they were looking at you, counting you out, laughing at your fall, what they didn't see was the build. The slow rise, the blood becoming bricks, the wounds becoming windows. They saw defeat, but pain saw potential. They saw weakness, but pain saw the weapon being formed. And now that the light's starting to break through the cracks, now that the air tastes different and your bones feel electric, that's not luck. That's legacy. That's what struggle was carving out from the inside, preparing you not just to have the promise, but to hold it, lead it, protect it. And here's where the punchline lands. Most people beg for the destination but curse the road. They want the throne but hate the thorns. They scream for purpose but whisper through the pain, not knowing that purpose is pain with direction. It's fire that knows your name, and it doesn't come to destroy, it comes to refine. To wake up that ancient part of you that doesn't care what the odds are, doesn't flinch at the scars, doesn't wait for a savior. It becomes the flame and burns its own way forward. They're always cleaning, polishing, arranging, obsessing over the outside like that's where all the danger is. Locks on the doors, cameras in the corners, alarms wired to every inch of the house. All so they can sleep easy thinking they're safe. But what they don't understand is the real threat doesn't break in. It's already inside, sitting there, right in the room, not hiding under the bed. No, that would be too obvious. It's sitting on the shelf, glowing on the screen, hiding in the lyrics, whispering from that little box they carry in their pocket like it's sacred. See, people don't question the things they invite in, that's the trick. Wrap poison in a pretty package and they'll welcome it with a smile. Sell it as entertainment. Disguise it as self-care, dress it up with a trending sound, and suddenly no one's checking the ingredients. They're feeding their soul junk and wondering why. Their spirit's getting sick, wondering why their peace keeps slipping, why the nightmares won't stop, why their thoughts are tangled and twisted like wires in a farce hour. And the worst part, they know, deep down they feel it. That pull, that shadow, that chill in the room when no one else is home. But they ignore it. Turn up the volume, scroll a little faster, laugh a little louder, as if distraction can drown out discernment. But the truth, the room remembers. It holds energy like scars. And when you fill it with chaos, don't be surprised when your mind starts to mirror it. What you tolerate in your space becomes the temperature of your soul. It starts subtle. One song here, one harmless post there. A show that makes murder look like a game, makes demons look like friends. And you sit there saying it's just fiction, while your subconscious eats it. Like a sermon. You think your spirit doesn't listen just because your mouth's not moving. Everything you let in is preaching something. The only question is, what's it preaching to you? Oh, they'll say you're overreacting, call you extreme, it's just a show. It's just a joke. But the joke's on them. Because while they laugh, something's lurking, feeding, attaching, gaining ground. And by the time they realize they've been slowly agreeing with things they once stood against, it's already made itself at home. See, darkness doesn't kick the door in. It knocks, smiles, plays nice. It lets you get comfortable. That's the strategy. That's the seduction. To make you think you're the one in control while it rearranges your house from the inside out. And maybe you haven't seen it yet. Maybe you're still calling it mood swings or just a phase. But ask yourself, why do you feel heavier in your own space? Why does silence make your skin crawl now? Why do your dreams look more like warnings than rest? It's not random. It's residue. Residue from what you've let play on repeat. Residue from conversations you thought didn't matter. From that voice that mocks what's holy and celebrates what's hollow. You thought it wasn't serious, but everything's serious when it's shaping your soul. People think spiritual warfare looks like fire and shadows and some movie scene with shaking walls. No, it looks like compromise. Like entertainment that dulls your edge. Like distractions that feel too good to give up. It looks like you defending the very thing that's draining you. And it's in your room. Not in the church, not on the street, in your room. Your sanctuary, your temple. The place you're supposed to recharge, to hear clearly, to find peace. And instead it's become a playground for everything that wants you numb and neutral. They won't tell you this, of course, not the ones who profit off your blindness. Not the ones who package poison with a beat or a filter or a trend. They need you asleep, need you sedated, need you passive, because a soul that wakes up, that cleans house, That stops letting darkness dance in the corner unchecked. That soul is dangerous. That soul becomes light. And light doesn't beg to be seen. It exposes, it disrupts, it demands change. And change doesn't sell as well as sedation. So now you've got a choice. Keep pretending you don't feel what you feel, or start flipping the room upside down. Start questioning the normal. Start confronting what you once invited. Because the most dangerous things aren't the ones outside trying to break in. It's the ones you already gave a key to. The ones you let decorate your walls and play through your speakers. The ones smiling in the shadows while you sleep thinking everything's fine. Isn't it funny how people pray for clarity and then ignore the signs when they come wrapped in discomfort? They want answers shiny, polished, easy to digest answers like a fortune cookie at the end of a cheap dinner. But answers don't always whisper. Sometimes they scream through chaos, through the things that go missing, through the people who suddenly vanish, through the tension in the air that makes your skin itch. And yet, instead of paying attention, they distract themselves. Because it's easier to scroll than to stare truth in the face when it's standing in your own room. The room tells the story. Always has. It's where you sleep, where you hide, where you think no one's watching. It's supposed to be yours, right? Your domain, your control. But look closer. Half the things in there. Not even yours. Ideas you borrowed. Beliefs you never questioned. Objects that carry weight you don't understand. Oh, but they look cool, they match the vibe, they fill the shelves, the walls, the silence. And still something feels off. Like the air's thicker than it should be. Like the shadows linger a little too long, see the warning doesn't come like thunder. It shows up in subtle ways, restless nights, loud thoughts, that cold feeling even under a warm blanket. And you know what most people do? They blame stress. They blame work. They blame everything except the source. Because to admit that something sacred might be disturbed, that's inconvenient. That means flipping the lights on when you've gotten used to the dark. That means questioning what's been allowed to live rent-free in your life for far too long, and God, He doesn't always shout. Sometimes He just lets the tension rise, lets the room speak, lets the weight build until it becomes unbearable. Because He's not just trying to clean your space, He's trying to teach you to notice, to discern, to see. And if He's pointing at something in the room, it's not because He's trying to ruin. It's because that thing has been ruining you quietly, steadily. All along, people think divine warnings come with sirens. Nope. They come with stillness. They come when the music stops, when the laughter fades, when you're left alone with a presence that doesn't feel right. You look around and everything looks normal, but your soul knows better. It knows when something's taken root that doesn't belong. When the peace has been replaced with performance. When the energy feels off and you can't shake the sense that something's watching, waiting, draining you bit by bit, but people don't want to hear that. They want spirituality without sacrifice. They want blessings without boundaries. They want to keep the poison as long as it's labeled aesthetic. So they keep the crystals, the posters, the playlists, the open doors to things they don't even understand. They'll defend it, say it's harmless, it's just a decoration, it's just a show, it's just a symbol. But symbols carry power, images carry weight, and what you allow into your space becomes the soundtrack of your soul. Ever notice how hard it is to pray in certain places? How the words feel stuck, like they're bouncing off the walls instead of rising? That's not coincidence. That's atmosphere. That's spiritual residue. That's the consequence of letting too many things in without checking their source. And now your own room feels like a stranger's house. Like something else took the driver's seat while you were busy looking the other way. This isn't paranoia. This is discernment. This is the part where the veil gets pulled back and you finally realize that some of the things in your life were planted. Some distractions were designed. Not everything that.